I remember not that long ago trying to get an AI image, and you'd wait, maybe a minute just to get something weird
Yeah.
or janky or with misspelled text. You got it fast, but it was rarely precise. That entire trade-off, that assumption,
Yeah.
it feels like it's been completely torn up in the last few months.
Welcome back to the deep dive. You've brought us a really great set of sources today, and I think our mission is pretty essential. We're going to filter the noise to find the signal.
Right.
We want to cut through all the general AI hype and show you what's actually being used right now by people doing serious work.
And our roadmap for this dive is, well, it's focused on 3 big shifts. First, we're going to look at the image generation arms race, specifically how these models are getting this surgical precision.
Yeah. Then we need to decode some of the vocabulary. It gets confusing. We need to draw a clear line between what a tool is, what an LLM is, and this really critical idea of an agent. And finally, we're diving into a new study from Perplexity and Harvard. And it's fascinating because it kind of debunks the common myth about how people use AI agents.
The robo-butler idea.
Exactly. It's not about that at all. It's something much more powerful. So our goal for you is simple. Walk away from this with the core insights you need to, move faster and smarter.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start on the creative side.
So the biggest headline from our sources was definitely the launch of OpenAI's GPT Image 1.5. And this isn't just another upgrade. It feels more like a correction of all the past failures.
For years, the big frustration was that you just couldn't trust the AI to respect your actual instructions.
Exactly.
I think about those early attempts, where you'd ask it to change one little thing, like swap a blue car for a red one.
And the whole image would just melt.
Yeah. The background, the lighting, the driver's face.
Yeah.
It would all warp. You'd get these weird artifacts. It was a mess.
It was a distortion nightmare. But 1.5 introduces what they're calling high control editing. So you can add, remove, or change things in the image with surgical precision without completely breaking the rest of the picture. And that's a huge step toward making assets you can actually use in production.
And for me, the most mind-bending part is the real text support. We've all seen that weird, alien-looking gibberish text in AI images.
Oh, yeah.
Now, 1.5 can render dense, small fonts, perfectly clear, inside an image. That was always the ultimate test for precision, and it feels like they've finally cracked it.
And that capability, it ties right into reliable instruction following, which is the key feature that really changes the game for, professional creative teams.
Right.
The sources had this incredible example, asking the AI for a 6x6 grid of 36 totally unique items, and it places each object exactly in the right tile.
That's a true whoa moment. It's not just about making a pretty picture anymore. It's about executing a complex creative brief flawlessly on the first go.
And it does it 4 times faster than the 1.0 version.
That's the real breakthrough, right? Speed plus precision.
Absolutely. And we have to look at this strategically. This wasn't some casual release. It was
a direct shot at Google, right?
It was clearly rushed to market to counter Google's Nano Banana Pro model. We're seeing the market for image generation start to segment, just like software did years ago.
So what does that segmentation look like? Because for most people, they probably just see 2 really good image generators.
Well, they're targeting different kinds of users. GPT Image 1.5 is all about speed and accessible control. It's for rapid iteration, for brainstorming, for the pro user who needs 10 quick versions of something for a social post.
So speed and accessibility.
Exactly. The new images tab, the pre-built styles, it's all built for velocity. Nano Banana Pro, on the other hand, is slower, but it's specialized for the high-end production pipeline.
Okay, so more for enterprise.
Think big enterprise features, massive batch processing, the kind of absolute fidelity you need for a major brand campaign. It's quality over just pure speed. Whoa. Just imagine scaling that precise instruction following to 1 billion unique queries a day. If you can trust the AI to execute 36 unique commands perfectly every single time, that just fundamentally changes the job for graphic designers everywhere.
So if I'm a user, what's the bottom line? How do I choose between 1.5 and Nano Banana?
If you need speed and quick iteration, you go with 1.5. If it's enterprise workflows and production quality, you lean toward Nano.
So we've covered the creation side, but all that speed and precision, It doesn't mean much if we can't even agree on what to call the things we're using.
Right.
The vocabulary is changing so fast, and it just creates this information fatigue.
It really does. People feel this massive pressure, this FOMO, like they're missing that one key update that's going to change everything.
Yeah.
But the answer isn't to read more, it's just to clarify the architecture. You only really need to get your head around 3 core categories when people talk about AI.
Okay, let's start with the simplest one, the most common one.
That would be the AI tool. A tool is just an app made for one specific task.
Like image generation.
Or video editing or voice cloning. They're the single-function apps with a clean interface. Simple.
Okay, next up are the engines that power everything.
Exactly. The LLMs, or large language models, what everyone just calls chatbots. These are the big predictive models, the brains of the operation.
Like ChatGPT, Claude.
Gemini, Grok. Most of the really powerful ones are closed source. The company keeps the code secret, and they run them on their own servers.
And what's the alternative to those huge closed source brains?
That's the third category, open source models. You find these on platforms like Hugging Face. The code is free, it's public, and it's mostly used by coders who want to build their own custom apps or run AI on their own machines.
So they can avoid big tech servers.
Precisely.
Now let's get to the term that's really exploding, the one that connects all this together, the AI agent.
Right. An agent is basically a smart software layer you build on top of the LLM brain. It's a system that manages and runs a whole multi-step workflow for you.
So the LLM is the brain.
The tools are the hands, and the agent is like the personal assistant running the whole show.
Okay, so an agent is built to take complex, step-by-step actions, like replying to an email, pulling out the key details, making a PDF summary, and then scheduling a follow-up call.
All in one automated flow without you having to do each step. It solves that friction point we've all felt. We call it prompt drift. You know, when you try to chain 6 different single-task tools together, the instructions start to get muddled.
Oh, absolutely. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. When you're trying to combine these different tools into one perfect workflow.
It's hard.
Yeah, it feels like you're trying to give complex errands to a very literal 6-year-old.
And that's why the agent concept is so critical. It handles the handoff between all those tasks. And for the user, just understanding this structure is the shortcut. FOMO is basically fake unless you're actually building the AI models yourself. For the rest of us, it's just about how the agent layer lets you automate things smarter. So why is the agent concept becoming so critical right now?
Because agents automate entire workflows, and that saves way more time than single-task tools ever could. That focus on workflow automation. It leads us perfectly into our third segment, because this is about using real data to cut through the hype.
Right.
The popular story, the one from sci-fi, is the AI is the robo-butler. The assistant that books your flights, orders your groceries, handles all the little chores.
And that is absolutely not what the data says is the highest value use. The Perplexity and Harvard study you shared is so interesting because it just debunks that whole myth.
So what's the core finding?
The core finding is that users are using AI agents to augment cognitive labor.
To think better.
To think better, not just to delegate chores. They're using these tools to expand their own intellectual bandwidth. And that really points to where the real productivity gains are happening.
Can you give some examples? What kind of high-level tasks were they actually doing?
Well, over half of the queries were for tasks that involved synthesizing huge amounts of complex information. Things like summarizing really long documents.
Like pulling the core arguments from a 50-page report.
Exactly. Or editing and structuring technical reports, managing complex research workflows, and getting high-level coursework help.
So these are tasks that need judgment and integration.
Yeah.
Not just grabbing facts.
They're using the agent as a cognitive accelerant, and the user demographics tracked with this perfectly. The main users weren't just everyday consumers.
They're knowledge workers.
Tech folks, marketing strategists, finance professionals, academics doing literature reviews, people who have to process information at an inhuman speed.
And there was a pattern there, right?
Yeah. A very clear predictor. A higher education level and a higher GDP correlated directly with more agent usage. And it suggests this kind of graduation process.
What do you mean by that?
Well, users might start with light stuff, like planning a trip. But as soon as they realize the agent can handle complex thought, they quickly shift to these deeper cognitive tasks.
That makes sense. The more complex your daily work is, the more value you get from an agent right away.
But, and this is important, we have to be critical of the data source. The study was based on Perplexity's users.
Which is a research-focused platform.
Right. So their user base is already skewed toward more academic and professional queries than, say, a general user of standard ChatGPT.
So does this study accurately represent general user behavior?
It might not represent the average consumer, but it clearly shows advanced cognitive tasks are already the highest value use for people actively using agents.
All right, let's shift gears. Time for a rapid-fire summary of some of the most impactful recent news and strategic shifts, the stuff you need to know. Let's start with something a bit more cultural.
Let's talk about Slop.
Slop?
It's officially been named the 2025 Word of the Year. And Slop is the term for that low-quality, high-volume, AI-generated content that's just flooding everything.
Search engines, social media feeds, even book markets. It's a real challenge if you're trying to find quality information. You just wade through noise.
And on the tool side, ChatGPT just launched skills for specific tasks. This is basically them mirroring the kind of targeted functionality that Claude users have had for a while.
So you can tell the model what kind of task to optimize for.
Right. Competition is driving feature parity. And speaking of competition, there's a big Google rumor to watch.
What's that?
Their DeepMind lead basically told people to go bookmark the Hugging Face page, strongly hinting that Gemma 4 is coming very soon. That could be a major open source release that shifts the whole landscape.
And a great example of a new app using these models is DoorDash Zesty.
Oh, I saw this.
It's a social app for finding restaurants, but it uses these really specific natural language queries, things like a low-key dinner for introverts with excellent lighting.
That's a great practical use of an LLM to navigate real-world data.
Okay, now let's talk about some serious infrastructure moves. NVIDIA made a quiet but huge acquisition. SkedMD. They're the company behind the Slurm Workload Manager, which is the open source scheduler that is absolutely critical for running massive AI data centers.
That's a heavy acquisition. Resource scheduling, deciding what data gets processed on which chip and when, that's the plumbing of AI training.
Yeah. It just strengthens NVIDIA's already insane control over the entire compute stack, from the chip itself all the way up to the training software.
It's about owning the operating system of the AI data center. And speaking of control tactics, look at this subtle move from OpenAI.
What are they doing?
They're now defaulting free users to the less capable GPT 5.2 instant model. If you want the much better performance, you have to manually switch over.
Ah, that's a classic platform tactic.
Yeah.
Make the free tier a little less convenient to nudge people toward paid plans.
And finally, 2 quick utility tools worth checking out. Google's CC. It gives you a personalized briefing every morning, pulling from your Gmail, calendar, and Drive. It's the ultimate catch-me-up tool.
And Okara.
And Okara, which lets you chat with a whole bunch of different open source models, Llama, Qwen, DeepSeek, all, from one single app. So what's the biggest infrastructure implication of that NVIDIA acquisition?
It really just strengthens NVIDIA's control over scheduling massive data center workloads.
Okay, let's pull all this together. Let's synthesize the core insights from this deep dive for you. We covered a lot, but there are really 3 major takeaways to hold on to as things keep changing.
Go for it.
First, image models have hit a critical point of maturity. The kind of control and speed we see in GPT Image 1.5 means these tools are now essential, not just optional, for any kind of rapid creative work.
They've solved the precision problem.
Second, the real value of AI agents isn't handling your chores. The Harvard study is pretty clear. Agents are being used to augment cognitive labor. They help you think, research, and synthesize information better and faster. And third, the key to navigating all this noise is just understanding the architecture. Knowing the difference between a single task tool, the LLM engine, and the workflow managing agent. That's the essential shortcut.
And if we take that study's findings seriously, that agent usage links so strongly to higher education and higher GDP, that brings up a pretty provocative question for the future.
Yeah.
If these agents are primarily tools for enhancing high-level thought, for accelerating the work of the already well-educated, what changes in education or training or accessibility do we need to make sure their true power benefits society broadly, and not just, the top tier of knowledge workers?
That's the challenge for the next 5 years.
Maybe I wouldn't.
Keep exploring those edges of knowledge.
Thank you for sharing your sources and for diving deep with us today. We'll talk to you next time.